Boston Bruins.
Sports Park in Port Charlotte, Florida. Nesson presents Grapefruit League Baseball. Today, the Red Sox travel north to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Tom Karen in for Dave O'Brien. Jerry Remy with us. As always, hope you remember to set your clocks forward. We did. One less hour of sleep. No problem with the Red Sox. They're ready to go. And in the outfield today, Mookie Betts and Jackie Bradley Jr. will be starting. For Jackie Bradley Jr., Jerry, a gifted defensive outfielder, needs to show a little consistency if he's going to be a regular major leaguer.
I would agree with you, Tom. You know, defensively, he's one of the best that I've ever seen play the outfield. And, you know, that whether it be center field or it be right field, wherever they put him, we're going to see some highlights here, tracking a ball, they're getting a ball in right field and making a throw to the plate to cut down a runner. I mean, he can do it all in the outfield. The problem has been his offense, and it's been very, very inconsistent throughout his major league career. He's had low points, he's had high points. You can see the 23 games where he hit 446, and you figured this is the time that Jackie was going to break out of it and become a regular good hitter, you know, day in and day out. I asked John Farrell about it this morning. I said, is there anything different Jackie has done since he's come into camp this year to be more consistent? He said, well, when he gets in trouble, he goes to a big swing. You know, he tries to pull the ball too much, tries to hit home runs, and the fact is he's better off when he's thinking about hitting the ball up the middle, hitting the ball to the opposite field, and that's what he's really been concentrating on. And so far this spring it has worked very well for him. So, you know, when he gets in that mode where he tries to pull the ball and hit home runs, he hits a lot of lazy fly balls in left field, a lot of ground balls at second base. When he's up the middle the other way, you see more solid contact off his bat. That's what he's concentrating on this spring.
With Bradley in center, Betts and right, a dynamic outfield today and going into the season, and you'll see the prospect, Yohan Moncada, starting at second base. 49 stolen bases in the minors last year. First pitch coming up next. We have come north just a bit, about an hour north of Fort Myers. Charlotte Sports Park is where the Tampa Bay Rays play their spring training games. We're in Port Charlotte, where the Red Sox and Rays will meet up for the third time this season. They have split the first two Grapefruit League meetings. Take a look at the Red Sox lineup for this one. A pretty good group traveling north for the road game. It'll be Mookie Betts leading off in right field. Brock Holt the shortstop batting second. David Murphy in left batting ahead of Travis Shaw, who will play third once again. Alan Craig, the designated hitter. Jackie Bradley Jr., who we spoke of in the open, is in center field. Blake Swihart behind the plate. Sam Travis at first. And the second Major League Spring Training start for Yoan Moncada, the 20-year-old Cuban who was signed as an international free agent prior to last season. They'll be going up against Erasmo Ramirez of the Tampa Bay Rays. Ramirez had a rough time in his last start here at Spring Training. Gave up 5 earned runs and 7 hits and 2+ innings against the Detroit Tigers. But he's coming off an important season where he won 11 games. That was just one shy of Chris Archer to lead the team. And he left All-American League pitchers with a 193 batting average against when he faces left-handed hitters, Jared.
And the defense today for Tampa Bay, they're going to have Evan Longoria at third base, Tim Beckham, the shortstop, Logan Forsythe at second, and Logan Morrison, the first baseman, left to right, Jeff Tucker, Kevin Kiermaier, who is always hustling, and Steven Souza Jr. in right field. Hank Conger will be doing the catching for Ramirez. And the Red Sox will see a lot of change-ups from Ramirez. That is his best pitch.
And they will see them on a perfect day here in Port Charlotte. 82 degrees, a touch of humidity, not much of a wind to worry about, a little bit of cloud cover. And I'll tell you, Jerry, when the cloud cover is not there, it is smoking hot on the field.
Yeah, we were down in that dugout earlier with the John Farrell press conference, and that sun beating right in the dugout. It is very warm there. Thank goodness for the breeze today here in Port Charlotte.
Well, we were down there for a long time.
Yes,
before the game started today. Spent a lot of time down on the field and in the dugout today, and I'll just tell everybody at home, you might set your clocks ahead tonight, but that does not slow down the Rem Dog. You were itching and waiting to hit the road to Port Charlotte this morning.
I'm on a different schedule down here, TC. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock every night, up about 5:30, and I'm ready to go.
We were supposed to meet at 8 o'clock. I think you texted me at 7:20. Where are you? Let's go. Let's get this one started. Mookie Betts will be leading off for the Red Sox against Erasmo Ramirez. Red Sox wearing the red tops here on the road today. The Tampa Bay Rays in their light blue home uniforms today. As we get this one started, the first pitch of the game catches the outside corner for a called strike.
That's interesting, looking at the defense, how they play Mookie Betts in the infield. They really pinched the shortstop and third baseman together, expecting him to pull the ball in that direction.
1-1 the count for Mookie Betts, who's hitting .238 as a homer. That one RBI on the solo home run so far this season. And a guy who has established himself as the leadoff hitter for this team. Works the count to 2-1. He was the youngest primary leadoff hitter since Ellis Burks back in 1987 for the Red Sox. And really seemed to take to that sort of mental approach to the game, Jerry. It really fits the mold of a good leadoff hitter.
Yeah, he does. And, you know, it takes a special kind of guy to come out of the dugout, be the first hitter of a ball game, because you kind of set the tone for the whole team. And it's also one of those positions where you get back to the dugout. If it's a pitcher that you're not really familiar with, you get guys coming up to you all the time saying, what's he throwing? What's he got? How's the ball move? And you say, you know what? I only saw 2 pitches. I don't really know. You find out when you get up there.
We're all major leaguers here. You get out there and do a little homework on your own. 2-2 the count here after Betts fouls one off. And he fouls another one off to the right side. Ruben Amaro getting out of the way of that one.
Good job by Mookie Betts. 2 strikes on him, and just protecting the plate that time on a fastball. He may have been looking for the off-speed pitch, because you'll see a lot of those, as I mentioned, from Ramirez today.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, and the Pitch FX equipment that they use now to chart the break of pitches and the shape of pitches, 23% of his pitches last year were changeups. Another back to Ramirez. He will flip it over to first base. Logan Morrison will make the put out. And Mookie Betts grounds out to the pitcher. But 23%, virtually a quarter of the pitches he threw last year were changeups.
You know, they got a lot of guys on this staff, and it's a very good starting rotation. Ramirez fighting for the number 5 job right now, but a lot of them have very good changeups.
Well, when you talk about the Rays, you talk about the rotation, right? It's all about the pitching here. It has been for a long time. Archer, as good as they get right now in the American League. Smiley has pitched well since coming over. In the trade that sent David Price to Detroit, Jake Odorizzi. You've got Ramirez here, Matt Moore, who's back from Tommy John surgery, Blake Snell, is the highly touted rookie pitcher who probably won't break camp at the start of the year, but you'll see him before the end of the year. And mid-season, they'll get the return of Alex Cobb, who's coming back from Tommy John. More pitching talent assembled, starting pitching-wise, in Tampa than you might have in two other teams.
And that's what's going to keep them in contention if they are going to stay in contention, is going to be their pitching. They've tried to upgrade the offense, but it doesn't match up with other teams in the AL East.
Here's Brock Holt, hitting .214 in the spring so far, a homer and a couple of RBI. Yeah, it's great to pitch, but you got to score some runs, too.
You got to score some runs because it puts incredible pressure on those pitches. They feel like they can't give up a run and win a game.
Under 4 runs a game on average last year for the offense, second to last in the American League. That was the exact opposite of the 3.96 runs allowed per game, which was second in the American League. But you combine the two and you're under 500. 80 wins last year for the Rays. Two-two pitch from Ramirez. Ground ball to second base. Forsythe is there. Gets it over to Morrison. The Logan-to-Logan connection for the putout. 2 down here in the first.
That's almost the exact same defense they had against Betts, with the exception on the other side of the field. They had the second baseman Forsythe and Morrison pinched very close together. That ball goes out to the second baseman. He calls off the first baseman. He gets to the bag right away and becomes an easy out.
David Murphy playing left field today. Finishing out that outfield with Betts and Bradley. Murphy hitting well since signing with the Sox after camp began. .364. Saw him yesterday, in there once again today. Facing a right-hander who's very tough against left-handers. Ramirez, amongst the best against lefties last season. Murphy, high pop. Running out there is the shortstop, Beckham, then he'll make the catch for a 1-2-3 inning. So Ramirez deals here in the first. No score with the Rays coming up. No score at the bottom of the first here at Charlotte Sports Park. Take a look at the Rays lineup today. Logan Forsythe is the second baseman, leadoff hitter. Kevin Kiermaier, Gold Glove winning center fielder, batting second. Evan Longoria, followed by Dickerson, Morrison, Steven Souza Jr., Beckham, Conger, and Decker, the starting lineup today. They will go up against Rick Porcello. Porcello coming off a 2 scoreless inning performance against Minnesota in his last start last year. Joining the team after being acquired from Detroit and then signing a 4-year extension. So this is the first year of the extension. He'll face Forsythe to begin the game here. Jerry talking with him a couple of weeks back. He was pretty upfront about the fact that he, not knowingly at the time, put some undue pressure on himself last year, and Forsythe begins the game with a base hit back up the middle.
Well, let's take a look at the Red Sox defense. Travis Shaw will be at third base. Brock Holt, the shortstop. Yoan Moncada, the second baseman. And St. Travis, the first baseman. Left to right, David Murphy, Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts, and Blake Swihart, who is mic'd up today doing the catching. We are doing a NESN special on Swihart, and he is all mic'd up for this game.
I hope he doesn't feel any pressure or apply any pressure on himself to perform with the microphone on. Intrepid cameraman John Martin here with us, and is just following his every move today. Was on the bus coming up here today, and
I bet that was exciting. Watching him sleep
with the hour of sleep lost last night. I'm sure it was a lively bus on the way here. But back to Porcello, Jerry. You signed the big contract. You come into a team that didn't have an ace at the time last year, and he's the first to admit now he realizes he tried to pressure himself to be a pitcher that he's never been before. As Kiermaier fouls that up.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. You know, the added pressure of coming, first of all, to a new team, a new division, the contract extension that he did sign with the Red Sox, and the fact that he got away from his game. You know, he started the year off throwing sinkers and didn't have a lot of success with it. Then he felt like he had to go to the cross-seam fastball and ended up giving up quite a few home runs with that. And then finally at the end of the year got back to using that sinker that really is his best pitch. And you know Porcello's on when he's keeping his infielders busy. And you can see the numbers before the DL, 5-11 and 4-4 after that. Look at the difference in the ERA in 8 starts after being on the disabled list.
It was interesting. He led the Red Sox in strikeouts with 149, Jerry. I'm not sure you want him leading the team in strikeouts.
That's right.
Fly ball to center field. Bradley gets after it. First out of the inning. When he's pitching well, you're getting ground ball outs, not necessarily strikeouts.
That's exactly right. And you know, it's a pleasure, really, when you're an infielder working behind a guy that does throw ground balls, because you know you're going to be in the game. You're going to be ready on every single pitch, and you feel like you're going to be very, very active throughout the whole game.
Here's Evan Longoria, now the elder statesman of the Rays. The only player on this team who goes back to their days as Devil Rays. You remember those days?
I certainly do, and I still say that every once in a while.
Do you still get a fine in the mail? Here's the ground ball to second base. Holt over to first in time for the 4-6-3 double play. So one pitch to Longoria, and Porcello gets out of the jam. We're scoreless after 1.
I can't hear you, Kevin.
Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. By Ace Ticket. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. And by Bob's Discount Furniture. Back here at Port Charlotte, the Red Sox taking on the Tampa Bay Rays, scoreless after 1 inning. Got that ground ball for Rick Porcello, just like we talked about, a guy who can get out of a jam so quickly with that ability to induce the ground ball.
And that's exactly what he was looking for. A couple of line drives off him, and he got the ball down in the zone. Eventually got the ground ball to second base and 2 quick outs, and that certainly saves on the pitch count.
And nicely turned, we should add, by Yoan Moncada, who Fielded that play and got it over quickly to Holt at short. Kind of a slow developing grounder. You got to make that move quickly to have time to get both outs.
You're exactly right. And give your shortstop time to get out of the way of the sliding runner so he has a clear path to first base.
Out ahead of that one, Travis Shaw chases 1-2 now of the count.
Big shift put on Travis Shaw. 3 players on the right side of the infield, and only Longoria left at that shortstop position.
Shaw last season, 13 home runs in 65 games with the big club. And he'll get a base hit past the diving Beckham for the first hit of the game for the Red Sox. Came in hitting .526, Jerry. Travis Shaw making a case to stay in this lineup.
I think he's already made the case. You know, I think he proved last year how valuable he can be to a ball club at first base, a lot of time at third base this spring, and the way he swings the bat, even with the shift on the line drive quickly by a diving Longoria at shortstop, and he picks up the base hit. So he has done everything in his power to become part of this 25-man roster that's going to break camp.
So, man on first, nobody down. Alan Craig, the designated hitter today. Craig hitting .294 at Grapefruit League play. First pitch swinging, back up the middle for a base hit. So Shaw and Craig lead off the second with back-to-back singles. You
know, we've seen more of that from Craig this spring, you know, up the middle. And you know, when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals, a lot of his base hits did come up the middle, did go into the right center field gap. And, you know, it just looks to me like his timing this spring has been so much better than what we've seen ever since he's had a Red Sox uniform. So they got something going here. A couple men on, nobody out.
Chance for Jackie Bradley Jr., who we talked about in the open. Bradley last season was the Red Sox comeback player of the year, in large part because he was able to get that offense going over the second half. .294 he hit over the last 50 games, but as you highlighted in the open, cooled off at the very end. You know, you had that 5-week stretch where he was scorching hot, then he cooled off. You're looking for consistency out of this guy.
Exactly right. You know, eliminate the ebbs and flows of the game, you know, the highs and the lows that he has, and find a middle ground offensively. And as John Farrell said today, I asked him the question, and he said, you know, when he gets pull crazy and he starts thinking about pulling the ball all the time and hitting home runs, that's when he gets himself in trouble. We see him roll over on a lot of ground balls to second base. We see him, you know, with some lazy fly balls to left field. But when he thinks up the middle in the opposite field, that's when he really drives the ball.
Pitch outside there. Yeah, you were in there with the questions today in the scrum, the intrepid reporter, Jerry Remy.
Well, I knew we had the Bradley in the open, so I had to throw something out there and find out exactly what the staff was thinking about it. It's similar to my thoughts.
Just where the BBWAA guys are going to try to get you to become a card-carrying member. You start asking those tough questions.
That TC is not going to happen.
Bradley, ground ball through the hole in right field. Coming around from second is Chanot. He will hold up, and a good call as Souza got that back in quickly. So 3 base hits. The bases loaded for Blake Swihart.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do here is destroy an inning. The Red Sox have 3 straight hits in the inning, and you don't want the first out of the game, or the inning, I should say, coming at home plate. So Butterfield, with nobody out, not taking any chances, not gambling, will just hold that man up at third base, and the Red Sox continue with the 3 straight hits. So they got a chance to do something big here in the second inning.
You got a couple good arms here in the outfield for Tampa Bay as well. Kiermaier, as good as it gets out in center field, right there with Jackie Bradley Jr. And Steven Souza Jr.'s got a good arm and right.
Yeah, both are very good outfields. But Kiermaier, if you can see him track ground, it's unbelievable, especially from our vantage point. He is so fast and so quick.
Blake Swihart swinging at the first pitch. Seems to be an aggressive approach against Erasmo Ramirez today.
Well, he's going to be around the plate. You know, it's Steven Souza Jr. out there in right field.
The 0-1. Called strike 2. Swihart, 273 on the spring so far. Last year, at the age of 23, was primary catcher down the stretch. Team leading 78 games caught last season. Missed time in July with a sprained foot. He swings at that one And Ramirez gets him chasing for strike 3. So the first out of the inning here with the bases loaded.
What does he go to in a tough situation? He goes to his changeup, his best pitch, and he keeps it down and away. You see that movement going down and away from Blake Swihart. Look how much on the front foot he is. That's how badly that changeup fooled him.
One down now with the bases loaded for Sam Travis, who is as hot as Travis Shaw. Sam Travis comes in hitting .538 with a homer and 7 runs driven in. Good chance to add to that here. Travis was the minor league player of the year for the Red Sox last season. Hit .307 combined between the Salem Red Sox and the Portland Sea Dogs. The 0-1 pitch. Missing inside.
Trying to keep that ball down in a zone where all Travis can do is hit it on the ground, and they're trying to get the double play to get out of the inning.
Travis, just 22 years old, his first major league camp this spring. Making the most of the opportunity. Opportunity here, but he's out ahead of that one. Strike 2. Moncada on deck. Shaw, Craig, Bradley aboard, all with singles. Still scoreless here in the second. The 1-2 to Travis. Tried to check his swing, couldn't, and he gets rung up. So back-to-back strikeouts here for Ramirez with the bases loaded.
Well, he's taking it in his own hands, is he not? I mean, the bases loaded and then back-to-back strikeouts. And clearly you could see the head of the bat well out in front of the plate there. Not a tough call at all for the first base umpire, Kellogg.
Big opportunity for Moncada here, but 2 outs now. The switch hitting second baseman, just 20 years old. Swing and a miss there as he went after the first pitch. Last year hit .310 against lefties, lower against right-handed pitchers. Baseball America ranked him as the best prospect in the Red Sox organization. Ramirez missing inside there. Already 31 pitches for Erasmo Ramirez, who threw 55 pitches against Detroit the other day and didn't get an out in the third inning. After giving up 3 straight singles, he has battled back with a pair of strikeouts, getting Swihart and Travis. Now the 1-1 pitch to Moncada. Moncada, a chopper to short. There to take his Beckham, and Ramirez gets out of the jam. Bases loaded, nobody out, and the Red Sox can't get a run home. We head to the bottom of the second, scoreless.
Welcome back to Charlotte Sports Park. I'm Garen Austin. TC, Jerry, a few injury updates. Ryan Hannigan was a scratch yesterday. He was experiencing headaches. John Farrell said that he's doing better and he will go through all baseball activity to be cleared. Also, Carson Smith was having back spasms. He threw a bullpen today, came out okay, and Farrell said they'll try to get him into a game early in the week. Farrell also said that it was a productive day for Eduardo Rodriguez. He threw a long toss for about 120 feet, and he also did some dry work on the mound. But, guys, he said there is still no timetable for when he'll throw that bullpen session.
Thank you, Garen. And that timetable is certainly now going to bleed into the regular season, Jerry. 3 weeks from today, you'll be in Cleveland getting ready for the opener. He will not be ready to go.
No, I would agree with you. I don't think they're going to do anything foolish right now. They've waited this long with Rodriguez, and they're going to make sure that he's 100% before he starts any throwing off the mound or simulated games. He's got to build up that pitch count. So, yeah, I would agree with you, TC, that we will not see him at the beginning of the season. And most likely, I would think in his spot would be Stephen Wright.
Right, with the 4 scoreless innings against Toronto a couple of days ago. Henry Owens, a setback yesterday, walking 4 batters in 2 2/3 innings, giving up the 4 earned runs. Later today, we'll see Roenis Elias, and he could, if not be in the mix for that number 5 starter, if Wright gets that spot, Elias could end up being the guy who gets added to the bullpen at the beginning of the season, the long inning guy that Wright might have been if Erod was here.
Yeah, the way John Farrell was speaking this morning, there are probably 3 different options and 3 different ways that they can go with this situation. They don't expect Rodriguez to be a long-term problem, which is great news because the Red Sox rotation obviously weighing very heavily on him in that 2 or 3 spot in the rotation. Probably Buchholz number 2, probably Rodriguez number 3. So we'll see how the season shakes out when it does get going.
0-2 count here to Corey Dickerson. Dickerson acquired in January in a 4-player deal with Colorado. Swings and misses there. First strikeout of the game for Rick Porcello.
And very good location by Porcello. That ball was away and just kind of a wave at it for Dickerson. You can see the outside part of the plate, and basically all he's trying to do there is make contact and hopefully foul that pitch off. That's a very nasty pitch by Porcello away from the left-handed hitter.
Logan Morrison coming up to bat now. Morrison last season played a career-high 146 games. First time he'd played 100 games or more in a Major League season. First pitch swinging, dead center. JBJ is there, and Bradley makes the catch. Red Sox spring training game on NESN today, brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics tickets. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS to treat someone special to a game now. Kind of like coming to a game with you, Jerry. It's special. I drove this morning. I returned the favor.
You did.
People can calm down back up north. I don't make you drive every time.
It was very, very comfortable sitting in the passenger side today.
Steven Souza Jr. Again, first pitch swinging, base hit. Both teams taking an aggressive approach today.
Yeah, and, you might as well. A lot of the theory that goes around is, well, let's, early innings, make that pitcher work, get him out of the ball game. But the fact is, if a guy's going to throw strikes, why find yourself in 0-2 counts? I mean, if they prove they can throw strikes, you got to swing early in the count because you don't want to be hitting no balls and 2 strikes. And that seems to be the approach by both teams early in this game today.
All right, that'll bring up Tim Beckham, the shortstop, who's got the inside track on the shortstop job if you talk to most people here. But last year it was up and down, 82 games with a big club, hit only .222. Spent time at second, short, third when Longoria was injured. Back over to first base. Diving back in there is Souza.
Yeah, he needs attention at first base. He will every now and then try to steal a base and be successful at it. So even though he's a big guy, I mean, you need to let him know you're aware that he's at first base.
Beckham to center field, base hit. It falls in front of Bradley. Souza trying to go to third. The throw from Bradley not in time. So Beckham will go to second base on the throw, and Souza at third. 2 down, and the Rays have a little something going here in Port Charlotte.
It's one of the few mistakes you'll see Jackie Bradley make, overthrowing the cutoff man here, because if he hits the cutoff man, they probably have Beckham at second base. Jackie going to his right. He's going to play it in front of him. Now watch the throw. It's going to go over the head of Brock Holt. And they really didn't have much of a chance at all. And by the time it does that, once the runner at first base reads that, he just moves into scoring position at second base.
Hank Conger, the catcher, getting a chance here with 2 on, 2 out. Porcello getting the outside corner there for the called strike. Conger, originally drafted by the Angels, now part of the 3-way battle for the catching spot, or the 2 catching spots. He has options left. That one gets away. The one down in the dirt, Swihart couldn't block it, and the run will score.
Now, I think if Blake had to do that all over again, he'd get down on his knees and just try to block that ball instead of catching it. I think with the man at third base, you know, your concentration has to be on just blocking the baseball and not trying to catch it. Now, watch Swihart go down to the back end. And by going to the back end, the ball just deflects off him, gets away, and that allows a free run to come home. If he gets down on his knees and just tries to block it, you're still looking at a second and third situation. So, as I said, if he had to do that again, and I'm sure that's be brought up to him, is try to block that ball instead of catch it.
So Rays take a 1-0 lead. Man on third now as Beckham advanced. While Souza scored, Conger facing a 2-1 count against Porcello here. And yeah, if you've been around camp the last 2 years, that's what they believe Blake Swihart needs to work on. That's the finishing touch for him as a major league catcher, improving and perfecting that blocking technique, the ability to know when to try to stab at it and when to just get your body in front of it.
Yeah, you almost never stab at it, you know, TC, unless there's nobody on. I mean, man at first base, man at second base, third base, you've got to get down and try to block that ball just with any part of your body to keep it somewhere near home plate so those runners cannot advance.
Like being a hockey goalie.
Exactly.
Get in front of it. There's a drive from Conger. Right center field gap. It'll go all the way to the wall. The drive in a run. Conger will pull up at second base. So 3 straight 2-out hits for the Rays and a 2-0 lead off Porcello.
As it stands right now, Conger looks like the guy that may be going to AAA for the Tampa Bay Rays. But you keep putting big hits like that, and that may change some people's mind. That ball was almost picked off the dirt by Conger. That ball was down in the zone, not really that bad of a pitch by Porcello, but gallops the ball into that gap in right center field and drives in the run. So the Red Sox looked like they were going to have a big inning in the second, but they did not, and right back come the Rays in the bottom of the second.
Conger came over after spending last season in Houston, where he was with the big club all year. Rene Rivera expected to make this team, and then it comes down to Kurt Casale, who played 38 games with the Rays last year, and Conger, who spent the whole season with the Astros. Drives in a run there. 2-0 is the lead. And that'll bring Decker up to the plate. Jeff Decker. No, it's not a misspelling from our graphics guys. They're always on top of this, but he spells his first name J-A-F-F. Pronounces it Jeff. Spent last season in the Pittsburgh organization, 23 games up with the big club, signed a minor league free agent contract with the Rays this offseason. First round pick of the San Diego Padres back in 2008, but hasn't been able to stick on a major league roster yet. 41 games total between the Padres, and he slices this one fair down the third base line. It'll go all the way out to the warning track. Coming in to score is Conger, and standing at second is Decker with an RBI double.
See, now those are the kind of ground balls that can't frustrate Porcello, and they did early in the season last year. You know, you've done your job. You got the ground ball. After that, you really have no control where it goes. And that time, really a little bit of luck for Decker as he goes right down that third base line. You can see where Shaw's playing. There's a lot of room between Shaw and that line, and he finds it right over the bag just about to run it down in the corner for the double. So, you know, you can't let those kind of hits frustrate you. Stay with the sinker.
4 straight hits, though, with 2 outs here. 2 of them RBI doubles. Conger, Decker, each driving in a run with a double. Souza had scored on the wild pitch. A 3-0 lead here. Everything happening with 2 outs. What a change this inning. Red Sox had bases loaded, nobody out. Couldn't get a run home. 2 quick outs for Porcello, and now 3 on the board.
Now, there is momentum in baseball. I don't care what people say. You know, when you get the bases loaded and nobody out and you can't score, that gives the team a lift, obviously, on the other side. And they've taken advantage of that here in the bottom of the second inning.
1-1 the count here to Logan Forsythe. Jerry, I will make a bold prediction for the Rays this season. They will lead the American League in Logans.
They got a lot of Logans, that's for sure.
I'm going to stand by that prediction. Logan Forsythe swinging at that one. Logan Morrison on this roster as well. Forsythe, 29 years old, was voted the team MVP here in Tampa last year. The Don Zimmer Award. I think it's great that they've named that award after Don Zimmer, who meant so much when he came down and you know, at the end of his career, really the end of his life, his final years, was an instrumental part and a fixture at the Trop for their games.
You know, Zim was a guy, TC, that just had to be at the ballpark, you know, and he lived next to St. Pete. It was a perfect fit for him to be active every day, go to the ballpark, you know, much more input, obviously, when he first got here than when he got a little bit older. But the fact that they just allowed him to come, put on a uniform, you know, obviously made him very, very happy.
Yeah, it was wonderful to see him when you'd go down to the Trop, and obviously his time with the Yankees and the Red Sox way back when. But like you said, giving him the ability to sort of create his own schedule. Come when you can, do what you can, but just be here because your presence means a lot.
And that meant an awful lot to him.
2-2 the count here to Forsythe. As he looks back. Decker, second base. The RBI double here with 2 outs. All the damage coming with 2 outs here in the second for the Rays. Ground ball. Holt gets after it. Would have been a long throw, and Forsythe has some speed, so a smart play for Holt to eat it. That's an infield single, second hit of the game for Forsythe.
See, again, the frustration for Porcello, and I think that's why you're seeing Kyle Willis go out there right now to calm him down. Look, you know, you're doing the right thing. You're getting the ground balls. They're just in bad spots. There's nothing you can do about that. Holt had no play there except a fake throw to first and Holt did that run around at third base. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with what Porcello's doing right now. It's just a little bit of bad luck.
You live by the sinker, you die by the sinker sometimes.
Exactly. So, you know, I mean, just if I'm Kyle Willis right now, I'm telling him, hey, just keep doing what you're doing and hope these ground balls end up in some infielders' gloves.
And again, the 30-second clock in play here as Carl Willis comes out. He gets sent back. 5 straight hits off Porcello here with 2 outs. Everything happening after he quickly got Dickerson and Morrison. Now they've put 3 runs up on the board, 2 men on. Men on the corners for Kiermaier. Light out to center field in his first at-bat. Kiermaier, as we mentioned, a Gold Glove in his first full season. The Rays last year, just the 3rd time in 40 years that a player in his first full season wins the Gold Glove Award. He was a finalist the year before, along with Jackie Bradley Jr.
He can really play out there. He is such an exciting center fielder with great speed. And if the count, I wouldn't go now on a 2-0 count, but if the count goes 2-1, 2-2, you may see that runner at first base take off because, you know, you get it, if it's successful, you get into the man in scoring position. If it's not, you've got Kiermaier leading off in front of Longoria next inning.
Pitch to Kiermaier, way ahead of that one.
Yeah, surprise there. He got the changeup for Porcello on the 2-0 count.
Kiermaier in 2014, his first stint up with the Rays, hit an inside the park home run at Fenway Park. Hard to do. Not a lot of cavernous space. He drives this one down the right field line. That'll drive in a run. Betts gets after it. And another double here for the Rays. They take a 4-0 lead.
Now this is all falling apart very quickly for Porcello here in the second inning. Had that double play to get out of the first inning and made it a pretty easy inning. Got 2 quick outs here in the second. Now just hit after hit.
Similar to what happened to Henry Owens yesterday. It was walks that did it Owens, but you had the 1 inning just sort of spiral out of control. He couldn't finish the inning. I'll bring up Evan Longoria, grounded into the double play to end the first inning. Now, first pitch swinging. That's a base hit to right field. 1 run scores. Kiermaier in. A 2-run single for Longoria in a 6-run inning for the Rays.
When they are being aggressive, too. You know, not too many guys going to 3-2 counts. I mean, Longoria picks the first pitch he sees from Porcello and inside out going the other way. Now, you don't see Longoria do that a lot. Basically, he's a pull hitter, but this time goes to the opposite field and drives in a run. So, actually 2 runs. So this has not been a good inning at all for Porcello. It's been a couple of ground balls. You can't do anything about that, but there also have been some line drives and fly balls for hits.
Well, he got Dickerson to start the inning, and now he will face Dickerson again. 26-pitch inning so far for Rick Porcello. They have batted around. He has to get away from that one. Third start of the spring here for Porcello. Had gone 2 scoreless in his last appearance. Hope was to get 3 innings anyway today. Now with the pitch count getting up near 40, that might be tough to do. Dickerson. Fly ball center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. is there. And for the second time in the inning, Dickerson is retired. But in between those 2 at-bats, a big inning for the Rays. 7 hits, 6 runs, and the Sox trail 6-0 after 2. A 6-run outburst, all with 2 outs for the Rays. They lead 6-0 heading to the 3rd inning. The Bruins hit the West Coast this week. Don't miss their next game Tuesday night following Red Sox coverage. Live Red Sox action from Fort Myers. Then pregame starting at 9 o'clock. Puck being dropped at 10 o'clock in San Jose. Boston Bruins hockey lives on NESN. And the Bruins right now building some playoff excitement in the fan base.
Yeah, they had a big win yesterday, right?
They did. David Pasternak had 2 goals. 3-1 win over the Islanders.
I got to tell you something, TC. I got to point out something very big league that you do. You don't read promos off of paper. You read them off of, what do you call one of those?
That's an iPad.
An iPad.
Yes.
That is big league. I've never seen anybody do that.
Is that right?
No.
Well, there you go. It's technology's your friend, Jerry.
Wow.
Don't shy away from it.
I mean, instead of taking paper, and you have everything right there.
It's right here.
Like a teleprompter.
Right here, exactly. It'd be nice if you could have a teleprompter for the game. You just, I would have typed in a 3rd out instead of all those hits for the Rays in the 2nd inning. Base hit to right field. Mookie Betts leads off the 3rd inning with a single. Yeah, Snapchatting before the game. Do you Snapchat at all?
No, I don't.
That was a rhetorical question. Instagram, you don't do Instagram either, do you?
No, I don't. I do Twitter.
You're a Twitter guy.
And Facebook.
Oh, at Facebook, yeah. Right.
Although I don't know what I'm doing on Facebook, but I have somebody do that.
I don't do a lot of Facebook. But I do it. You know, it's good to keep an eye on things going on back north, your friends, your family. You kind of know what everybody's doing, you know. They post stuff, you know. My wife's out spending money all afternoon on a shopping spree. It's sort of
so you can follow that on
pictures.
Facebook.
You can follow that. She's, look what I just found. What a deal. Brock Holt grounded out to second base in his first at-bat, man on here in the third inning. Foul that one off to left. Brock Holt, of course, starring in our Nesson promo here that debuted yesterday. We'll have it again later today. I'm sure he's been getting lots of offers since it debuted yesterday.
Well, you should be getting some offers, too. I thought that you did an excellent job also in that promo.
But I played the straight man. You know what I mean? I had the easy part. He had to act. But did a good job. Does a good job here. Base hit, right field. So for the second straight inning, Red Sox have back-to-back hits off Ramirez. In the second inning, they had 3 straight hits, but couldn't get anybody home.
Yeah, certainly looking for a different result this inning than what they had last. They had the bases loaded with nobody out, could not score. Brock Holt gets a pitch down and in. I think that was supposed to be a changeup away. Instead, it stays inside, and Holt able to pull that ball. Mookie Betts down by 6 runs, taking no chance and stopping at second base.
Chance for David Murphy. Popped out to short in his first at-bat. Murphy, originally drafted by the Red Sox in the first round back in 2003 out of Baylor University. Played his first 23 Major League games with the Sox. Then was traded to Texas at the trade deadline in 2007. Eric Gagne coming back from the Rangers. Gagne was not particularly effective with the Red Sox, but they still went on to win the World Series. A guy who's just hit throughout his career, Jerry. 283 last season combined between Cleveland and the Angels. 10 homers. He's a career 274 hitter. About 20 points higher against right-handed pitching over the course of his career. But as we mentioned earlier, Erasmo Ramirez kind of reverse splits. You know, he's tough against lefties. The 193 batting average by lefties against Erasmo Ramirez last year was the lowest in the American League.
And that's because of the excellent changeup that he features. And that is a very tough pitch, righty against lefty.
There's the 1-2. Kind of a defensive swing. He puts it in play short over the first, not in time. So they get the force out at second base, but Murphy gets in there on the fielder's choice. That'll bring men on the corners with 1 down for Travis Shaw.
Yeah, almost a ill-advised throw there by Logan Forsythe. The way that ball was hit, you probably knew, you know, you can tell out there that you're not going to get a double play. And that time he tried to force a throw to first base where he had really no chance of getting Murphy and almost threw the ball away, allowing another run. Again, a good example there of that slide into second base. That slide coming very early from Brock Holt, and no contact to Logan Morrison around the bag.
Men on the corners, 1 down for Travis Shaw. Got a base hit before.
Take another look at that slide now. This is one way generally you can get to that second baseman, but watch the slide from Holt. He has to start early and can't quite get there as Forsythe comes across that bag, but then makes an errant throw to first base.
Shaw with a grounder to second base. Forsythe bobbled it a little bit.
Oh, I don't know about that.
And they will say it's on the transfer, so they will call Murphy out at second base, even though Beckham dropped that ball.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, that's one during the season that may have been challenged because it looked to me, I don't think he had control of the baseball. We'll take one more look at it right here and watch the shortstop, how quick he tries to be because of the bobble. I don't think he ever had control of that baseball in his glove.
And was the slide okay?
Yeah, the slide was okay.
With the slide.
Yeah, as long as he keeps contact with the bat.
All right. It's really 2 things you're looking for. Is he the bona fide slide, as they call it now? Is he keeping contact with the bag, and is he sliding early enough That's not waiting for that late slide to barrel through the guy.
Exactly. You've got to slide early enough and be able to keep contact and maintain contact with your hand or your foot on the bag. And, of course, no rolling blocks at second base.
There's the rule. The bona fide slide occurs when the runner begins early enough, attempts to reach with the hand or foot, maintains that contact, and doesn't go out of the way of any of that to make contact with the fielder.
You know, they got four bullet points there on the slide to second base. I could have made it into one.
Maybe two. Ground ball to the right side. Slow chopper. Forsythe gets to it, and that'll end the inning. So they do get a run. But a promising inning leads to just that. The Red Sox down 6-1, heading to the bottom of the third. Six to 1, Rays leading and coming up to bat here in the bottom of the third. Red Sox season ticket holders experience the best seats, price, and benefits Fenway Park has to offer. For information on becoming a season ticket holder, please visit redsox.com/season tickets or call 877-RED SOX 9 today. Tom Karen, Jerry Remy with you here. Garen Austin down at field level. We'll check in with her in just a little bit. If you're just joining us because you think it's 1 o'clock, you forgot to set your clocks ahead. Better late than never. You're pointing out team always seems to be on the road.
Always.
Sunday.
Every
you
time
lose the hour and you got to drive somewhere.
It seems like we always have a TV game when that hour that they have to move the clock up, and it seems like it's always on the road. I don't get it. Every single year.
John Farrell's theory was that that's the price you pay for always being home on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, maybe so.
It's as good a theory as any. Logan Morrison lined center field. Last inning for the second out of the inning, a quick 2-down situation, then unraveled on Rick Porcello. 7 consecutive base hits with 2 outs, leading to 6 runs. Missing inside here, a 29-pitch inning for Porcello. Red Sox did respond with a run, though, there in the third, Jerry. Fighting back.
Now, hopefully it's the start of a few more to come in this one. And Red Sox pitching has to obviously shut down from this point on. That's going to be difficult to do.
And a base hit to start the inning here. Logan Morrison, his first hit of the day. It drops in front of Murphy. And already the 9th hit of the game off Porcello for the Rays.
You know, I'm not trying to make excuses for Porcello, but again, you got a base hit right there that it's not a bad pitch. It was just fought off. It got in the hands of Morrison, and he just kind of flares the ball out to left field. Now, he's made some bad pitches also. I'm not going to say he hasn't that have been hit very high, but he's had a couple of ground balls. That last pitch was not that bad, but it seems like everything he's throwing up there, they're making contact and finding a base hit out of it.
Souza Jr. first pitch swinging. Moncada bobbles it, gets it to Holt for the first out, but not enough time to get Souza at first. So they'll record the 1 out, get the lead runner,
and that's
double play.
Yeah, that's just not good enough because this is tailor-made for a double play. You can see Moncado going toward the bag. I mean, and then he has to put a sidearm flip on it after booting it just to get the out at second base. So, you know, those kind of ground balls you've got to have, especially with a sinker ball pitcher on the mound. You've got to have the double play.
1 down, 1 on for Beckham. Tim Beckham had a single in that 2-out rally in the second inning. Came into the day hitting just 118 this spring. I've heard sinker ball pitchers in the past, Jerry, say that a lot of times they really don't start to get effective with that pitch till late in spring training. You almost need a certain amount. I've heard Derek Lowe used to talk about almost needing to be a little fatigued to have that ball drop off the table.
Yeah, you know, I've heard that theory a lot, you know, since I've been in baseball, which has been way too long than I can remember. And I'm not sure that I buy it so much. Yeah.
Ground ball at third. Shaw, nice play, and will get it across the diamond to get Beckham. Well done by Travis Shaw.
Yeah, very well done by Shaw. Again, he continues to slap that leather around both at first base and third base now. A nice backhanded play, the long throw, accurate throw to first base to get the out. Going to the backhand on one knee, getting up and making that very long throw a strike. But, you know, getting back to the pitching part of it, I mean, I always felt better, you know, when I was rested and felt good, you know, than fatigued. I guess they say sinker ball pitchers, they're better off because they don't throw as hard.
Well, they don't want to overthrow it, right? If you overthrow it becomes a rising sinker, which is not good.
It flattens out, yes.
Nobody wants to throw a rising sinker ball.
No, that's not a good thing because they rise and they go very, very far.
They continue to rise as they go over the wall. But that, you know, I've heard a lot of sinker ball pitchers say that over the years, that early on, there's a tendency to overthrow it. You know, you're feeling good, your arm is strong, so maybe you throw it. Strange play there as he turned around.
Well,
Souza pretty well off the bag, but Holt wasn't covering.
Yeah, and Holt standing directly behind the bag. I wonder if it was a missed sign right there. The sign may have been given by Swihart that they want to try a pickoff attempt at second base, and maybe Brock Holt did not see the sign.
Fly ball to right field. High, far, and gone. A 2-run home run for Hank Conger. And the 2-out misery continues for Porcello.
Now, you can't make excuses for that one. That ball was absolutely crushed by Conger. And, you know, for a guy trying to make a ball club, he's already got 3 ribbies in this game this afternoon with a double, the drive-in 1, and now the home run with 2 outs, the drive-in 2. And that ball was hit very, very well out toward the bullpen area. Pitch just stays inside, and I think Porcello knew it was bad as soon as he let it go.
8 runs for the Rays, all of them coming with 2 outs. And that missed opportunity on the double play comes back to haunt the Red Sox.
You can't make those kind of mistakes. You just can't do it. They come back at the big league level to bite you.
Won't go down as an error because you can't assume the double play. They still got the out at second. But Porcello should have been out of this inning. Instead, the 2-run home run for Conger makes it an 8-1 lead for the Rays. Conger, by the way, his self-proclaimed nickname is Panda Crusher. That is his handle on Twitter. I'm not sure how Pablo Sandoval feels about that. More bad blood between the Rays and the Red Sox, Jerry, if he makes the team.
It's kind of simmered down a little bit, hasn't it, over the last couple of years? But for a while, there was more bad blood between Tampa Bay and Boston than there was Boston and New York.
Guys were getting hit all the time.
All the time.
Charging the mound. You had Trot Nixon throw his bat at someone on the mound. There used to be some pretty wild games down at Tropicana Field between these two teams. Going all the way back to Pedro Martinez. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Gerald Williams.
Williams charging the mound against Pedro.
And that was at a stretch when, you know, we talk about the Devil Rays, and they were the, you know, last place team just about every year. Things have changed. That has simmered down as the Rays have become a more serious contender in the AL East. Decker out ahead of that one, 2-2. is the count. There were a couple of years there was kind of a three-headed race, right? The Red Sox, Yankees, and Rays, 2008, 2009. Sox and Rays, of course, played in that 08 ALCS 7-game classic. Rays went on to lose to Philly in the World Series. But coming into this year, Jerry, I'll tell you, it's almost a 5-team wide-open race. You could make a case why any one of the 5 teams in the American League East is the favorite to win.
I would agree with you to a point. You know, I think that there are 3 teams right now, and I would call that New York, Boston, and Toronto, I think, who you would have to, say are the top 3 teams in the division. Baltimore, you never count out because they've got some terrific players in that club. And then Tampa Bay, will they hit? Will they hit enough to score runs? And that has been their biggest problem. I do see a separation in the division. But, if all things click for either Baltimore or Tampa, things could tighten up a bit.
On ahead of that one, strike 3. So Porcello gets Decker to end the inning. About a 2-run homer from Hank Conger. Gives the Rays an 8-1 lead after 3. Heading to the 4th here in Port Charlotte. 8-1 Rays leading over the Red Sox. We're having that discussion about who do you like in the American League East. I'll tell you, Jerry, looking at a lot of national publications, reading a lot of national publications, more and more people are starting to pick the Rays. I've seen a lot of experts now suddenly picking the Rays in the American League East. I think they've done a little bit with the offense, and the belief is the pitching is good enough, but the Rays, Miller and Morrison, are expected to improve this team. Baltimore wound up making some moves. Although the loss of Wei-Yin Chen, I think, is a big deal for Baltimore. I think their pitching was thin to begin with, and now you're really banking on Ubaldo Jimenez to come through for you.
Yeah, they struggled last year, especially in their starting rotation. And, without Wei-Yin Chen, I think that's going to be a huge difference for them. But, it's always interesting. I mean, at this time of the year, they all look close. And then all of a sudden, the last couple of years has been a runaway. And you don't know what's going to break once the season starts. Who's going to remain healthy, who's going to get the good starting pitching. Red Sox, of course, improving their starting pitching, their bullpen, making a number of moves. The Yankees really with a lights-out strikeout bullpen.
And strike 3 there as Ramirez back out for his 4th inning. Gets Jackie Bradley Jr. We got some changes, Jerry. That's Willie Adams is your shortstop as he comes into the game. And a new left fielder, Jake Bowers. Neither of whom appear on the Tampa Bay roster.
Well, they got a split squad today. They're going to team up in Dunedin, so I imagine they got a few minor leaguers that are going to play in this game today.
Red Sox without a split squad today. Guys getting back to work at JetBlue Park and Fenway South doing their work while this group is here. Got some split squad games coming up towards the end of next week, Jerry, and John Farrell saying they may have to push off some of the cuts that you might normally see this time of year because you need a big enough roster to play the split squad games.
Yeah, once they get through those, I think that's when you'll start seeing some of the demotions being made, guys getting settled to where they're going to be playing at the start of the 2016 season, whether it be AA or AAA. But you got to get through those split squad games first. You don't want to overwork your guys, especially in spring training.
Red Sox did make one move. William Cuevas was reassigned to minor league camp today. So starting to trim down the roster a little bit. Swihart gets out of the way of that one. You've also got 3 games on the east coast of Florida, about a 3-hour drive beginning a week from today. A game we'll be doing in Port St. Lucie against the New York Mets. But then they stay out there, and those are usually trips that your veterans might miss. But if you've got 3 days in a row followed by an off day, Jerry, you've got to get these guys some work. They're going to have to get some of them out there to play.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see, the majority, I would say 90% of the Red Sox club is staying overnight on that 3-day journey because, as you mentioned, TC, they've got an off day after that, so that's 4 days off if you don't make the trip. And nobody really wants that because, the clock is starting to tick. And these guys are very aware of that. They know that within a couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks of spring training being over, it all starts to count. And it starts to build in your mind that, hey, I've got work to do. I need some at-bats. So you'll see people on that trip that you wouldn't normally see because it's for such an extended period of time. I mean, that is very unusual in spring training to have a 3-game road trip like that.
It has sent the Nesson crew scrambling into logistical discussions. I saw you and Mike Narachi mapping out some potential travel plans for next weekend. Yeah, I think we're pretty well set. Swihart draws a 1-out walk here.
I think we're gonna drive down after a game.
But before we get to that, Jerry, you can enjoy an afternoon at the ballpark as a group of 20 or more, not you, but you and 19 friends. Senior outing tickets start at just $22. Call 877 Red Sox 9 for more information. So you head out Saturday after the home game?
Yeah, just so Nesson knows, and we want to make them aware of our plans, that we will be taking the limousine and staying at a Four Seasons.
Ground ball to third, around the horn. Travis grounds into the double play. Jerry will take a call from accounting, and we'll take a break. Back with more after this. Bottom of the fourth here in Port Charlotte, 8-1 Rays leading. Nesson Clubhouse will be back for its 3rd season. Don't miss the show Sundays on Nesson. 90 minutes before first pitch of every Sunday Red Sox game. Visit NessonClubhouse.com for cool games and to learn more about the show. Small talk, of course, a big part of that. You've done that. You've taken the hot seat against the kids.
Yeah, a couple of years ago I did. That's a lot of fun. Actually, we're taping some of that now back at JetBlue Park, and that should be another interesting segment this year.
And again, just really quickly back to the travel plans. A stretch limo.
Stretch limo for two of us.
And Alligator Alley.
And certainly a Four Seasons hotel, I think, would be...
Should be there early enough to be able to go to a steakhouse or something.
Yeah. Put that
similar to what we did last week, the big sponsor dinner that we got to attend.
And that'll be our last big meal I think we have down here right there. I'm only kidding about the limo and the Four Seasons back in Essence. So please, don't call.
Don't call.
Don't text, don't call.
We'll have $5 footlongs on the way to
exactly.
through Alligator Alley in the rental car. Dave O'Brien will be back this week. He'll do the game with you Tuesday night, the foundation game, as we call it, against the Yankees. David Price will be on the mound, so nice to see Price. A lot of people back home will get their first chance to see him pitching in a Red Sox uniform against, I'm sure, what'll be the entire starting unit for the New York Yankees coming down from Tampa.
Yeah. Last year, what was it? All their numbers started above 60. I predict over 70 this year.
The lowest number last year in the game the Yankees played in Fort Myers was 60-something. So Ronis Elias now pitching for the Red Sox, the lefty acquired in the offseason, along with Carson Smith in the deal that sent Wade Miley to Miami. And interesting, with Erasmo Ramirez pitching, 2 years ago, Ramirez wound up expendable for Seattle because Elias won the battle for the last spot in the starting rotation. So it was the arrival of Elias that ultimately led to Erasmo Ramirez being traded last year to the Rays. 52 pitches on the day for Rick Porcello. Elias missing outside. The people who watched him regularly in Seattle, Jerry, say he's an exciting pitcher. He'll drop down sidearm. He'll go back up on you in the middle. Different sort of funkiness in his delivery that he will try to use deception as part of his arsenal. And at times he's had some very successful runs with the Red Sox, with the Mariners rather, prior to coming to the Red Sox.
Now, he was back at in Fort Myers a couple of days ago working with Pedro Martinez between appearances, and it was very interesting to watch and listen. We have a clip of that we will show you after the first out.
And there is the first out. He gets the strikeout as Forsythe goes after it. Let's take a listen here to what Pedro Martinez told you about working with these guys.
Well, those are things that I had to learn in order for me to succeed in baseball. And when I see guys like him, Rodriguez, those are guys that are pretty similar to what I had. Changeup, fastball, 95 to 97. And guys that kind of look like me, they might be a little bit taller, but I can actually see the reflection on what they do compared to mine. And it's just a matter of being righty or lefty. And they're lefties and I'm a righty, but it's pretty much the same. So I can completely relate to what they need and what they have to do.
Pop fly there, Kiermaier. Swihart gets under it to make the catch. Now, tell you what, if you're Eduardo Rodriguez or you're Ronis Elias and you have Pedro Martinez saying they remind me of myself, you gotta feel pretty good about yourself.
Well, I think, Pedro is talking about velocity-wise and change-up-wise. They're pretty much very similar pitches with, the good velocity that can reach about 95 or maybe a little bit higher, and also a very effective changeup. And what he was working on that day with Elias was hiding the baseball. Now, that was a good example at last pitch of him dropping down to the side. You talk about the different types of deliveries that he has. And the last out that he got against Kiermaier was on a fastball that he dropped down to the side, almost 3/4, and got the out.
Swihart being looked at after he got a piece, or he's got him there.
Checking that right side of his face. Take another look at the ball going off Swihart right off the side, the mask, and knocks the mask off. And apparently the problem for him is on the right side of the face.
That's a pinch hitter, by the way. It's Patrick Leonard hitting for Evan Longoria. Longoria 1 for 2. It looks like Swihart will come out of the game here. We'll have to signal to the bullpen to bring in a new catcher, so Swihart will get looked at. You know, in this age of concussion awareness, anytime a catcher now takes a foul ball like that. I remember David Ross missing all that time with the concussions as he had taken 2 foul balls off the mask. The masks have been improved, Jerry. They absorb a lot of the concussion, but that ball's still coming in pretty hot when it catches you. Yeah,
the catches and the umpires certainly at risk on every single pitch that is made, and there really is no sense in taking any chance at all with Swihart in this situation. So the Red Sox will make the call to the bullpen, not for a pitcher, but for a catcher to come in.
Dan Butler comes out without his gear. He's just helping Elias stay warm. Now Elias will have a little chat.
Looks like Solis coming in to do the catching.
Yeah, Ali Solis, after the apparent injury to Blake Swihart, hope it is nothing more than being cautious here. Solis, 28-year-old, 12th pro year. This is his 5th major league spring training camp in 5 years. He's a guy who has battled 13 major league games in his career, spent the last 10 winters playing in the Mexican League, Jerry. So he hasn't had an offseason now in a decade. And you're catching all that time.
Just fighting and clawing to get a spot at a major league ball club.
And first pitch. After the catching change, the line drive out to center field, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Elias, who looked good and managed to pitch around that delay. So no scoring for the Rays, 8-1 after 4. Heading to the 5th, Rays leading 8-1 over the Red Sox. 3rd meeting of the year between these teams. Today's Red Sox spring training game on NESN, brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics tickets. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS to treat someone special to a game now. We have changes for the Rays, including the new pitcher, Danny Farquhar, taking over. And that'll be the interesting thing to watch with this Rays team, Jerry. While we all admit they are as good and as deep in the starting rotation as they've been in a long time, there are some questions about the bullpen here, especially with Jake McGee gone. McGee was sort of that hard-throwing lefty that was a fixture of this pen now for so many years. He's traded in the offseason, and there's a shifting of some roles out there.
Yeah, he was a critical guy out there. I mean, when you needed big outs in a game, you went to McGee, and he was awfully tough, both on left-handers and right-handers. And, you know, it's funny. The Rays always seem to find a way in the bullpen. No matter, what kind of situation they're in at the beginning of the season, they seem to find their way and have a solid bullpen by the time they reach, after a month or so into the season. So we'll see if that develops again this year for them.
Danny Farquhar last year with the Seattle Mariners, 1 win, 8 losses with an ERA over 5 in 43 appearances. Part of a 6-player trade in November of last season after the year that brought Farquhar over to Tampa, acquired along with DJ Mitchell, originally from New York, in the Ichiro trade. When Ichiro went to the Yankees, that's how Farquhar ended up in Seattle, and then acquired by Tampa Bay along with infielder Brad Miller and Logan Morrison for Nathan Carnes, Boog Powell, CJ Reffenhauser. So 6-player deal. Carnes was a promising young pitcher, and now he will be along with Wade Miley in that retooled Seattle pitching staff. Base hit here for Moncada. So Yoan Moncada gets his first hit of the spring, his first hit in a Major League Red Sox uniform, playing in his second spring training game.
Yeah, it looked very much like a pull hitter there as that ball was up in the zone about letter high, and he just hooks it on the line. Nice job getting his hands above the baseball and hitting a line drive into right field for the leadoff base hit here in the 5th.
We will keep an eye on him now, Jerry. 49 stolen bases last year in just 81 games with the Greenville Drive. That was the most stolen bases of any player in the organization.
And, just because the score is 8-1, it's spring training. And if I would let the guy run just, to continue to work on it. I mean, I don't care what the score is in spring training. If it calls and if he gets an opportunity to run, let him go.
Some changes out of the field. Now Patrick Leonard stayed in at third base. Thomas Malone in center field. And Ken Wong is your new second baseman. Off the end of the bat, foul on the right side. Mookie Betts up for the third time. Base hit and a run scored in the third inning. The only run of the game for the Red Sox. Patrick Leonard at third after pinch hitting for Longoria. And there's Ken Wong, the new second baseman, taking over for Forsythe. Big lead for Moncada, but he gets back. No throw from the catcher, Conger. 8-1 Rays leading here in the top of the 5th. Fly ball to left field. Bowers misread it, and it'll fall in front of him for a base hit. He started back, Jerry, and by the time he started coming in, it was too late.
Yeah, sometimes, if the ball was toward the end of the bat, that'll completely fool an outfielder because they'll think the ball's hit better than it actually is. And I believe that ball was toward the end of the bat for Mookie Betts. You can see the going back is Bowers comes back in, and by the time he adjusts to it, it drops in front of him. He also kicked it, but down by 7 runs, Moncada stays at second base, not taking that chance of advancing to third.
And Baseball America rated him the best prospect in the organization. The Red Sox named him the minor league base runner of the year. 2 on, nobody out here for Brock Holt. Holt 1 for 2, and the Red Sox fans in attendance start to come to life. Haven't had a lot to cheer about. Holt gets it through to short. Played there by Adams, but no chance to make a play. Good job just to knock it down and keep it in the infield. So the base is now loaded. Had he not knocked that down, Moncada with speed probably would have scored.
Without question, that's a good job by the shortstop. Just make sure you keep the ball in the infield, keep a run from scoring. But again, the Red Sox with another opportunity with the bases loaded. They had that back in the second inning. They couldn't score after a couple of strikeouts and a ground out. There's the backhanded attempt there by Adams, but he does knock the ball down and does save a run.
Yeah, we have been here before. 3 straight base hits to start an inning happened back in the second inning, and they didn't get a run. Swihart striking out, Travis striking out, and Moncada grounding out to end the inning. David Murphy with a chance to change that here. 0 for 2 on the day. Yoan Moncada at third base, Mookie Betts at second base, and Brock Holt at first. Each man with a base hit. Nobody out. The base is loaded for Alan Craig. Fly ball left field. Bowers gets under it. Moncada will score easily, and the Red Sox get their second run of the game.
Now, good situational hitting by Murphy. I mean, you'd love to get yourself a base hit there and drive in a couple, but at least by making contact and making contact deep enough to the outfield, you do get the one-run home. The thing you want to avoid there is the ground ball and stay away from a double play and just kill the inning. So Murphy does get the fly ball, and Moncada able to come on and score and gets congratulations from his teammates after the base hit.
And the red-hot Travis Shaw, 1 for 2 with an RBI in the game so far. First pitch swinging, ground ball to first base. Morrison gets it over to Wong. Across to the pitcher Farquhar for the inning-ending double play. So the Red Sox score 1 but leave 2, and they trail 8-2 heading to the bottom of the 5th. Rays leading the Red Sox. The Rays coming to bat here in the bottom of the 5th off Rowanus Elias. Don't miss out on Big Papi's final season. Enjoy a game at Fenway Park. Great tickets throughout the season still available. Get yours by visiting redsox.com/tickets or by calling 877 Red Sox 9 today. Got a couple of changes here for the Red Sox. Brennan Bosch takes over from Mookie Betts in right field. I believe that's Bryce Brent's in left, and Devin Marrero, the new shortstop. First pitch for Dickerson. Fly ball left field. Brent's lost it in the sun, and it'll fall to the warning track and bounce over the fence for a ground rule double. You can see right away, Jerry, that he lost that one in the sky.
Yeah, what a helpless feeling that is, and it's so frustrating because it goes up, you lose it, you have no clue where it is, and you can see Brent's right there putting the glove up. Once that glove goes up, I mean, he's just trying to find the baseball, and he has no idea right now where it is. Bounces over his head. He tries to protect his head right there so he doesn't get hit, and then bounces over the fence for the ground rule double.
First base runner allowed by Rowanus Elias. And he will now face Logan Morrison with a man in scoring position and nobody out. Elias's 1, 2, 3, 4th inning was the first clean inning by a Red Sox pitcher today. Tough day for Rick Porcello, who allowed the 8 runs on 10 hits. All of them coming with 2 outs. Solis blocks that one, but then by the time he gets to it, Dickerson easily into third base.
Yeah, breaking ball that time. That Solis deflects off his body to his left, and a good read at second base by Dickerson. Once he sees that ball deflect toward the Red Sox dugout, he has no problem moving over to third base with nobody out.
Again, Blake Swihart leaving after taking a foul ball off the mask last inning. Garen Austin will keep an eye on any update there.
Red Sox bring the infield in, but not all the way in with nobody out. That should be a position where they can hold that runner at third base. A lot of times, if they bring the infield at that position with nobody out, that will hold the runner. They'll tell them to put the brakes on.
Morrison, ground ball to first base. Travis plays it well. No advance for the runner, one down.
Yeah, nice play by Travis. I mean, that ball looked like it was headed down that right field line for extra bases, and he makes a fine glove side play and gets the out as expected. They were not going at third base with the infield in, and the Red Sox and Travis actually save a run right there. Very nice play. Slick play by the first baseman.
That'll leave Dickerson at third base. Steven Souza Jr. getting his third at-bat of the game. He has scored twice. Once on a wild pitch, once on a fielder's choice. Starts this inning with his at-bat with fly ball to center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. under it. In position for the long throw home, and just ahead of it is Dickerson, but a terrific throw from Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field.
Well, you know, what sets all that up, and we'll see it again on replay, is how Jackie Bradley Jr. gets himself into a position to throw, and that's why he makes a lot of good throws. You're going to see this ball go up, and Jackie Bradley, watch him, how he gets his body in position and prepared to make a throw home. Catches the ball on the throwing hand side. That is very important. There's no reason to catch the ball off to the left side, because then you have to transfer it all the way back to the throwing hand, and that takes time. So he gets himself in a position to be able to make a good throw like that to home plate.
As an outfielder, Jerry, he's been part of 10 double plays, which is the most by 3 in all of Major League Baseball since 2013.
You know, to me, he's going to be one of those guys where eventually he's just not going to be challenged, you know, and you'll see the assist numbers probably go down for him because he's got that kind of respect around the game already. But what I loved about that is not, you know, I love the throw. The throw was great.
Willie Adams with a base hit up the middle here.
But I really like the way, you know, he gets himself in position, and all young outfielders should really look at that because, you know, you just don't stand there, catch fly balls, and then, you know, throw the ball. I mean, you've got to get that body in the proper position to do so, and that's exactly what Bradley does. Another look at it. He backs up, gets momentum coming to the plate, catches the ball off his right shoulder, and then makes the throw. That's technique that, you know, everybody should learn.
Hank Conger now with a swing and a miss. Conger's had a nice day. An RBI double in the second inning, a 2-run homer in the third. Certainly improving his place in the race for a catching spot here in Tampa. He has options remaining. There's a clause in his contract after he came here to Tampa Bay where they would have to pay him, I don't know the amount, but a decent sum of money if they assign him to AAA, and they may have to do that just to keep the 3 catchers in the mix.
I heard $1.2 million.
There you go.
That's a lot of dough.
It does make that news a little less painful, doesn't it?
Yes.
You want the good news or the bad news? The good news is you just made $1 million. Bad news is you go down to Durham. That one bounces in the dirt. Plenty of time for Adams to get to second base.
Good base running by Adams. You read the ball in the dirt. Very seldom will the catcher come up clean with that, so you are able to pick up a bag and get yourself in a scoring position. You see the lead at first base. He sees the ball in the dirt, and he's off to second base. And some guys are really good at that, you know, and it's taught. I mean, when the ball, if you can read as a base runner at first base, the ball is going to bounce. You just take off and go. Because very, very seldom the catches come out with that clean.
1 run in here in the 5th inning for the Rays. A 9-2 lead. Adams on second base, 2 down. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Conger. And the dirt again. Solis blocks it. No advance. 2-2 the count. Ronis Elias, last year or 2 years ago rather, made the opening day roster for the Seattle Mariners, having never pitched in AAA. Jumped right over AAA, went from AA to the big leagues. It's an all-star the year before that. Pitching in the Southern League in AA and jumped right to the Mariners roster. Kind of bounced back and forth. It's been primarily a starting pitcher, but has pitched out of the bullpen as well. Much like a Stephen Wright. He's a guy that they could keep as a long innings guy in the bullpen who can make you spot start, especially early in the season.
Yeah, I think that's going through the organization's mind right now with the condition of Eduardo Rodriguez. And John Farrell was pretty clear about that this morning, that they haven't had meetings about that yet, but they're certainly thinking along those lines.
Misses outside, so after the ground rule double to lead off the inning, a couple of outs, and now a single for Adams, a walk for Conger. And they'll be 2 on with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Bowers. Elias, the second pitcher of the day for the Red Sox. Rick Porcello began the day and battled through 3 innings where he gave up 8 runs, 10 hits. Bowers came in the game for Jeff Decker. This is his first at-bat of the game. Bowers sent last season in single A, was an all-star in the Florida State League, and with 74 RBI, had the most by a Rays minor leaguer since 2013. Number 4 prospect overall in the Rays organization right now. Swing and a miss there.
That's pretty nasty right there. You drop down to the side against a left-handed hitter, and you throw that breaking ball, big sweeping breaking ball. And really had Bowers fooled on this pitch. Off-balance swing. The backside was leaving for Bowers.
Left-handed hitters just .218 off Elias in Elias's major league career, and he will get a strikeout there. Swing and a miss from Bowers. So stranding 2 runners. Elias gives up just the 1 run. It's now 9-2 Rays heading to the 6th. Welcome back to Port Charlotte. 9-2 Rays leading the Red Sox here as the Sox from the bat in the top of the 6th inning. Tomorrow, it's an all-new Behind the Bee. A proud group of Bruins dads join the team on a road trip to Carolina. Plus, 3 Bees players contributed to an upcoming charity event at the World Trade Center site in New York City. Catch Behind the Bee tomorrow night at 8 on NESN. Pretty cool tradition the Bruins have started, where they have a dad's trip every year, where the players get to all bring their fathers on the plane and accompany them on a road trip, see a game, spend some time, do a big dinner together. Incredibly proud moment, I'm sure, for all of those dads. Swing and a miss there for Alan Craig. Got some changes for the Rays. That is Adam Reifer in right field. Eddie Gamboa in center field. Gillespie, the new first baseman, as well.
I was wrong. I thought Lee was in right field.
That's what I had written down. But that was by my naked eye, which is never good.
Actually, it's what I heard on the PA.
Naked ears, not very good either. We will have our NESN team investigating the actual substitutions as Alan Craig reached base for the second time today. Had a single. Now draws a walk to lead off the 6th.
Yeah, the situation we're in today is because of the split squad. You've got a number of minor leaguers who are called up with no names on the back of their uniform. So it's kind of a guessing game.
Bunch of guys wearing 80-something and no name.
No name.
It's a fly ball from Jackie Bradley Jr. to left field, where Bowers will get under it. He has trouble with the sun as well. Craig had gone all the way to second base, but he'll get back. First out of the inning. Looks like it's a tough sun field out there in left.
Yeah, 2 things. If you look at the flags blowing out, they're really gusting pretty good out toward the left field. So you have that issue, and then you have the sun that people are dealing with right now, and it's creating a problem out there in left field. You can see him battling the sun and the wind as it almost took him over the head of Bowers.
1 down, 1 on. Mari Solis stepping up for his first at-bat. Yes, we have confirmed that Braxton Lee is in right field, Jerry. You were right on it.
I thought it was Braxton. You know, I saw him run out there. I recognized the run from the minor league complex this morning, and I was disappointed in myself that when the name came across, and it wasn't Braxton Lee.
The intrepid reporting you have shown so far this spring training is unmatched. My concern is they'll stop sending me and other people down here because you can do it all. You'll be the investigative reporter.
No.
You'll be the analyst. No. Soon you'll be hosting that 2 weeks of shows that I do before this.
No. It takes a special talent to do that. My talent is doing what I'm doing now, I think. And I'm going to stick with this. But you know the fun part about spring training is what I do is when the club's on the road, I go up to the workout generally anyway because, a lot of the guys are staying back. And that's where you can really get some pretty good information with the guys that stay back. They're so relaxed. They're so, and that's how we got the Pedro thing. That's how we got the Butterfield thing with the infielders. And it's kind of fun, And for me, quite frankly, TC, it's a refresher course. When I get a chance to sit in with the infielders when Butterfield's talking to them, it's a refresher course for me. So I totally enjoy that.
Are we going to see a Watching Baseball 2 published?
No, we're not. No, you know what it is? It's a lot of work for no money. I mean,
not a good combination, is it? Thomas Malone, we have also confirmed, is in center field. Thank Mike Narachi, who's been our spotter today. You were talking about writing a book earlier today. Are you going to revisit your long-haired days at Studio 54?
Oh, boy.
Back in the 70s? Is that a tell-all book from Jerry Remy's early years?
Not while I still have the job. There may be one more book when this is done.
But you're done. That's when you've walked away from it all.
I will be done when that book comes out, yes.
That's what I'm saying. If not before, as soon as it comes out.
But as long as I have this job, there will be absolutely no more books, And watching baseball, I had a lot of fun doing that book. And I thought it was a very informative book, when you watch games on TV, some of the things you can look for. And got a lot of play. But I got to tell you, the book business, it's a lot of appearances for short money.
You got to get the big upfront.
Well, you got to be big, Bill O'Reilly. You got to be #1 on a New York bestseller every week.
People got to want to hear your story before you write it. There's got to be a demand.
But if
I
try to tell a story when we're doing a game, but if you don't hear it, then you got to read about it. But
right.
But that I'll tell you, I got a lot of legs out of that book. That book was well done.
I remember when that came out. I enjoyed it. You've got a great eye for the strategy of the game.
Yeah.
I think we can all see when a player makes a great catch, right? Or we can see the tools that a player has. But yesterday you called a hit and run. There's the hit and run.
Well, that's the fun part of the job is predicting what may or may not happen in certain situations. And, for me, when I call something and it happens, it's almost like I'm playing. I feel like I'm playing. So that's the fun of the job. But
I was pretty proud yesterday. I was pretty proud. I was talking about Travis Shaw's power as he hit the home run.
Exactly.
That's pure luck. That has nothing to do with knowing the game. That's just I was reading the right notes at the right time. So it's back up here over our heads.
And the Studio 54 stories, they won't come out till the final book. The final book that, we'll see. We'll see when that is.
That's one of those you gotta. That's one of those you gotta just release in like the newspaper magazine, like a little excerpt every week for a couple of months.
Big build-up.
Big build-up. Then there's a demand. Then you come out with a book. And then you take it to the house because no one will pay you anymore.
Nobody's going to want to see me.
You've given it all away. Sam Travis putting on a battle here, and he wins that battle. Base hit to left field. Good at bat there for Sam Travis. Travis has hit well his first big league camp.
Now the Red Sox, a number of hits in this game, but all of them singles for the Red Sox so far in this ball game. So they've had their share of base runners. But certainly trail big time on the scoreboard right now. So Travis doing the job defensively and also offensively in the game today.
And that'll bring up Yoan Moncada. Moncada got his first big league spring training hit back in the 5th inning. Scored on a sacrifice fly from David Murphy. Takes the ball here. 2 on for Moncada, just 20 years old. And again, last year, his first year in North American Pro Ball. The Red Sox signing him as an international free agent. Right about this time last year, it was late March when they signed him. So he spent the year in Greenville. And you can just see, Jerry, this is a big, strong young man that they think will be rapidly progressing towards the majors. The question will be, he has only played second base.
Yeah, and
Dustin
I wonder.
Pedroia is in no mood to give that position up.
No, that's something I would not want to try to take from Dustin Pedroia. And Moncada's a very impressive-looking athlete. He really is. I wonder if they will start moving him around into different positions. At second base. Maybe move him to another infield spot. I mean, he's a big kid, very strong.
Moncada here with a 2-2 count. Out ahead of that one, strike 3. So Farquhar gets out of it, leaving 2 on, and the Red Sox trailed 9-2, heading to the bottom of the 6th. Back for the bottom of the 6th here in Port Charlotte. 9-2 Rays leading the Red Sox. 6-run second inning, the story of this game so far. No experience quite like watching a Red Sox game in a private suite at Fenway Park. Email premiumsales@redsox.com or call 617-226-6912 to book your private suite today. Foul ball right back up here. Then back down to the seats. Ryan Lamar takes over for Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field. And Moncada's day is over. He'll be replaced at second base by Marco Hernandez. Third inning of work for Elias. Facing Kim Wong.
Now that sidearm delivery to a left hand is pretty nasty, and he throws a lot of breaking pitches off that sidearm delivery, which is very, very tough on lefties. There it is again, but that time not tempting for the left-handed hitter. See him drop down to the side to the lefty, give him a little bit different look, and then go at the breaking ball that's going to be running away from him. That time back over the top to the fastball and just missing the outside part of the plate.
Elias is a native of Guantanamo, Cuba. Established residency in Mexico before signing with Seattle, and again coming over in the Wade Miley trade. That one bounces in. That'll be a walk for Wong as he heads to first base. Tampa Bay Rays, Jerry, playing a game in Cuba this spring training. Major League Baseball very excited about that. They will play the Cuban national team down in Cuba on March 22nd, and Luis Tiant has been invited to be part of that group going back to his native Cuba. I know that's a thrill for the Red Sox Hall of Famer.
It's got to be. Tiant, of course, from Cuba, and just a chance to go back there now that things are opening up with Cuba, and some of the players coming over, getting a chance to go back for him is a terrific thing.
The base hit for Malone. And the throw from left field just off the mark. So Wong able to get in there. Malone pulls into second base.
Yeah, again, a kind of a mental mistake there, because he really had very little opportunity to get Wong going into third base. So the ideal throw here is to go to second base, keep a double play in order, not allow that man to advance to second base and get in scoring position. But Brenson looks to go to third. The throw is way offline. And then the man at first base can just easily, slide into scoring position at second. So the kind of a mental mistake there on where to go with the baseball.
Patrick Leonard, who took over for Evan Longoria. Leonard getting his second at-bat of the game, lined out to center field to end the fourth inning. Now up with 2 runners in scoring position. And nobody out here in the 6th. Fly ball to left, high, far, and gone off the scoreboard. Leonard, a 3-run home run, and a 12-2 lead now for the Rays.
Now, how about that for a thrill? I mean, you get an opportunity to come play in a major league game out of minor league camp, and you pick up yourself a 3-run home run. No breaking ball that time again, dropping down a bit to the side, but this time to a right-handed hitter, and carries way out of the ballpark in left field. Tampa Bay Rays, they've got their hitting shoes on today.
Yeah, they broke it open in that second inning with 6 2-run outs, and they have 2 out runs. The umpire took one there. Looks like Swihart took one earlier.
It's like Timmons went into a boxing stance.
He's ready to fight it off.
Yeah, it looks like he was going to throw a left jab.
Fight it off.
I mean, am I seeing things, or was that accurate?
No, that's yeah.
He got hit. Now watch him go back and look like he wants to throw a left.
Yeah. Tim Timmons says, you going to do that? to come swinging back at you. Third inning of work here for Elias. A 3-run homer for Leonard, his first of the spring. Got ahead of that one there, and it is a 2-2 count. Strike 3, so Elias will get his third strikeout of the game. One in each of the 3 innings he has pitched. That'll be 1 down as Gillespie comes up to the plate.
We're seeing an awful lot of breaking balls from Elias in this outing, whether they be from the side or over the top.
Red Sox home for their next couple of games here as the count is 1-1 to Gillespie. Home against the Pittsburgh Pirates tomorrow afternoon at JetBlue Park, and then Tuesday night, New York Yankees in town. That game on NESN, a 6 o'clock start. Fly ball to center field. Back to center field and off the wall, just missing the deepest part of the ballpark. A stand-up double for Gillespie.
Well, apparently the Tampa Bay Rays got the hour difference right last night. They came out today, and they are absolutely crushing the ball all over the ballpark against the Boston Red Sox. That ball almost got out of here over 400 feet to center field. So Gillespie ends up at second base with an easy stand-up double. Lamar going back, and he realizes he's not going to be able to track it down. Has to back off and play it off the wall, and didn't miss a home run by very much.
And that'll bring up Braxton Lee, who we knew all along was in right field. Lee getting his first at-bat of the game, replacing Steven Souza Jr. Souza scored a couple of times, drove in a run. Part of this big 15-hit attack for the Tampa Bay Rays. Rays lost Asdrubal Cabrera as a free agent this past offseason, but talking to the people here, Jerry, it seems like they're kind of excited about the fact that it was the first offseason in a while where the Tampa Bay Rays made a concerted effort to try to address the offense. As good as the pitching has always been, as we said before, you've got to score some runs, and they seem to have addressed that to an extent this year.
Yeah, and they still got a way to go, you know, as far as getting more offense in this lineup and be able to score more runs. But it is a slight improvement from what they have had in the past. And, you know, we kind of touched on this a little bit early in the game, how frustrating that can become for good pitchers. I mean, they go out there, they pitch hard, they're very competitive, and yet they're losing games 3-2, and you know, not able to score enough runs to have a successful season. So that becomes very frustrating. I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays have always been pitching rich. They always have been pitching rich. They come up with these young, talented pitchers, but they have never been able to really get a decent offense. They tried many years ago by signing a few free agents, and it just didn't work out. And since that time, the whole organization has been based on its pitching.
And you think of the pitchers they have actually dealt away. David Price and Wade Davis, who became such a big part of that Kansas City bullpen. Oh. Nice play. It's short on a hop, and he gets it across. Devin Marrero flashing some 11 here in the 6th.
You know, it looked to me like Marrero was taking a step to his left, and all of a sudden contact was made, and he had no other option but to go to the backhand. Let's take a look. Maybe it's the runner that's in his way. And I think he did take a step to the left, and the runner kind of got in his way. Then he puts that glove out, and it looks like the baseball found the glove. And that is a heck of a play by Marrero at shortstop.
And we will have a pitching change. That will end it for Elias. He'll come out of the game. The 3-run home run for Leonard. The damage off Elias here as the Red Sox trail it 12-2. Today's Red Sox spring training game on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Welcome back to Port Charlotte. Tom Karen, Jerry Remy, Garen Austin with you. The Red Sox trailing 12-2 and with 2 outs. We've got a new pitcher coming in as we will now see Edwin Escobar coming in. He made his Major League spring debut this last Sunday against Baltimore, giving up 1 run in the 7th inning. Escobar was a little behind at the beginning of the year, one of the several players who dealt with flu-like symptoms early on when that bug was sort of going around down here, but spring training's plenty long. He's got time now that he's back in there and pitching well. Escobar in his second full season with the Red Sox came over from the San Francisco Giants along with Heath Hembree in the Jake Peavy deal at the deadline of 2014. Missed the first half of last season with an elbow injury, then 19 appearances with the Paw Sox. The ERA just over 5. Spent this winter in the Venezuelan Winter League. After missing so much time last year, they wanted to kind of patch together as close to a full season as they could. Fly ball from Willie Adams to right field. That'll find the gap, get all the way to the wall. That'll be an RBI double as Adams will drive in the run. Gillespie scores, and the onslaught continues. 13-2. Rays lead.
Now that spot has been very warm today for Tampa. I mean, Beckham started, had a double in the game. Adams comes in. He's got himself a single, got the second on a wild pitch, and now with a double to drive in a run, and the hit parade just goes on and on and on for Tampa Bay. Here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, the score is not beautiful for the Red Sox, but the weather is anyway.
And the catcher, Hank Conger, staying in there, getting his 4th at-bat of the day. Why not? He's been hot. RBI double in the second, 2-run homer in the 3rd. He drew a walk in the 5th inning. Fouls this one off to the right side. You know, as a 12-year-old, Jerry, Conger had 33 home runs in 38 games on his Little League team as they came within 1 win of the Little League World Series.
That'll do it. That'll get it done, won't it?
Home run a game will get somebody's attention somewhere.
That's amazing.
Homers in 38 games. Acquired from Houston for cash considerations in December. Fly ball to left field. Getting after it is Brenson to make the catch to end the inning. So 4 runs in the inning for the Rays. 3 on the home run from Leonard. It is now.
Attention.
Welcome back to Charlotte Sports Park. I'm Garen Austin. TC, Jerry, Rick Porcello just spoke to the media, and he said the results were not very good today. He said he made some mistakes, and they were able to hit them. He said, but the good thing is he was throwing strikes, and he felt comfortable. He said he's still a work in progress. He's not where he wants to be, but the good thing is he definitely feels as though he's improving. There's also, we just spoke with the Red Sox, and they said there has been no official word on Blake Swihart.
All right, Karen, thanks very much. That's obviously the big news here. A leadoff single for Brennan Bosch to begin the 7th inning here with the Red Sox. Trailing 32. I spoke too soon. That's a double. He's able to leg that up. You talk about spots in the order being hot. That's the 3rd hit from leadoff. Betts went 2 for 3. Bosch now with a double to begin the 7th. But that's what we're going to be watching here over the next day or so. Blake Swihart, just crossing your fingers, hoping that there's nothing more serious than him getting his bell rung.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that it's more precautionary that they took him out of the ball game. He did take a pretty good blow right there. But, you know, when Farrell went out there, I mean, in spring training, there's no point in keeping him in there just to try to get an extra couple of innings out of him. If he's a little bit woozy, get him out of the ball game. Make sure he's okay. That's exactly what the Red Sox did. So they'll have a better idea with Swihart when they get back to Fort Myers after the game is over.
We spoke yesterday during the game against the Marlins about Sandy Leon coming back and Dan Butler coming back, but we saw it last year. Christian Vazquez, the final week of spring training, is suddenly out for the entire year. And you talk about pitching depth, but I think catching depth, Jerry, is often overlooked. You've got to have guys who can come up and be ready to play at the major league level.
Well, it's such a position that, you know, any foul tip could be the end of the season for a catcher, or any throw to second base, as was an example last year with Vazquez. Could be the end. So you're right, TC. I mean, you know, the more catches you can pile up and have in your system that are major league ready or have major league experience is the big thing. You know, calling games, knowing the league, and that's huge.
Here's Devin Marrero, the shortstop, took over for Brock Holt. Holt went 2 for 3. And a base hit in the 3rd, another in the 5th. And there's a base hit for Marrero. Up through the middle, they will wave Bosch home, and that's an RBI single for Devin Marrero.
Now, no shortage of hits at the top of the lineup for the Red Sox today. The combination of Betts and Bosch and Holt and Marrero have combined for a total of 6 hits at the top of the lineup. Ground ball, seeing eye ground ball. It bounces quickly by the glove of Adams into center field, and Bosch is able to come around and score, give the Red Sox a run.
So we saw Marrero make a nice play defensively at short, an RBI single, and an interesting conversation when you start to talk about where Devin Marrero goes from here, because barring an injury, he would be on the bubble here to make the big league roster. And you look at a place like St. Louis, Peralta just went down for months, it looks like. They could be in the market for a shortstop. Marrero might be an option for a team that loses a shortstop.
Well, that's one thing that goes through your mind when you're a player in spring training in that position. I mean, it's very obvious. You look in front of you, you've got a very young shortstop in Bogaerts. And, if he stays healthy, he's going to be the guy. Everybody knows that. And if you're a guy like Devin Marrero, you're looking just to get a big league opportunity with somebody. Now, we know that scouts are at every single game at the Red Sox at all major league games, and they're looking at talent, that may not be the frontline talent, but certainly guys that are big league ready and could help somebody immediately. And they're here every single day watching those guys. So it's important, that you come out every day, bring your A game, whether you're starting or you're not.
Bryce Brentz with the strikeout there. So 1 down, 1 on, 1 in here in the 7th inning. Red Sox trailing by 10.
I don't miss that at all. Oh my God.
Talk about the scouts at the game. There are plenty of them here and at every spring training game. Shaw unable to hold up, falls behind. 0-2. They do announce now that Blake Swihart, the reason for leaving the game was a jaw contusion, bruised jaw. Fly ball to left field, diving effort there by Powers, but he can't get to it. They will hold Marrero up at third, but that'll be a double there for Travis Shaw, who just continues to hit.
Yeah, we talked about him earlier. He's already made his point about making the ball club, and he's looking for plenty of playing time, and this time goes the other way. And that's what impresses me about Shaw, the fact that he can pull the ball and also take it to the opposite field, and he has done that successfully since he's been up as a big leaguer with the Red Sox.
Sean Coyle will pinch run. That will end the day for Shaw, who goes 2 for 3 with an RBI. Alan Craig getting his 4th at-bat of the day, facing Enny Romero. Go opposite field there. He fouls it off on the right side. That's why this time of year, over these last few weeks of spring training, Jerry, you keep an eye if you're a player and maybe you're on the bubble of your organization. You're talking about any injuries that happen here, but also injuries that happen elsewhere, because teams that don't have a hole can suddenly find themselves with a hole to fill late in spring training.
Exactly right, and it happens all the time. It seems like there are transactions that final week of spring training every single season. And every once in a while, you come up with a gem.
Sandy Leon, who I mentioned earlier, it was the final days of spring training when he was on the bubble in Washington. All of a sudden, Vasquez goes down in Boston. He gets traded to the Red Sox and winds up playing 59 games, which is the most he's ever played in a major league season. Craig slices one down the right field line. It'll score 2. Misplayed in right field, and that allows Craig to advance to second base. The Red Sox putting together a 3-run inning here in the 7th.
We talked about Craig earlier in his first at-bat when he hit the ball up the middle, and I said that's more like Alan Craig. Now, this is even more like Alan Craig with a couple of men in scoring position and taking that ball down that first base line. I mean, he did that consistently in the National League, big time with men in scoring position. And he just did it again here for the Red Sox. And, you know, you talk about scouts watching guys. That's another guy that the Red Sox, I think, would love to have some scouts fall in love with.
Right, with the move of Ramirez at first base, with Travis Shaw waiting in the wings, David Ortiz, your designated hitter, there really is not a place for Alan Craig in this lineup. And this guy who just a few years ago was in the discussion for the MVP award in the National League. Marco Hernandez at the plate now. And Conger slow to get up. Had both catchers hit. We've had an umpire hit. Kevin Cash, manager, former catcher. Out to take a look. Conger doesn't want any part of it. Didn't even get up to talk to them. Stayed in his crouch. Stays in the game.
Doesn't want any extra time from the umpire. He's ready to go.
Conger's putting up a pretty good fight to make this team, Jerry.
He knows it, too. He knows he's in a battle for a position.
Hernandez took over at second base for Moncada. Swing and a miss there. Count is 1-2. Hernandez takes Bradley's spot in the lineup. Moncada's spot in the field. Hernandez fouls it off.
So that must mean Lamar is hitting ninth.
That would be my guess. That's how I have written it in my card.
John Farrell trying to trick us up here in the booth. Usually it's straight up in spring training, but not the case today.
Swing and a miss, strike three. So Romero records his second strikeout of the inning. Around 4 hits and 3 runs.
That's basically there, just keeping a pretty good fastball away from that left-handed hitter and get ahead of him, trying to pick up the outside corner with the fastball. He does. He gets the swing, he gets the miss, and gets the second out of the inning here in the 7th.
Here's the catcher, Ali Solis. Came into the game in relief of Blake Swihart with 2 outs in the 4th inning. And again, the word on Swihart, it is a jaw contusion. And while I'm sure that is painful, you're kind of happy to hear that, because if you're talking about the jaw, you're not talking about a concussion, which is what you're worried about. We'll come back here to Romero. He makes the play, flips it over to first for the final out of the inning. But the Red Sox score 3 on 4 hits. 2-run single for Alan Craig, the big blow. Red Sox trailing 13-5 here in Port Charlotte. Welcome back. A 13-5 Rays lead here in Port Charlotte. In 2016, every Tuesday is Take Home Tuesday at Fenway Park. The first 15,000 fans in attendance receive one of this season's great giveaways, like an Ortiz 500 necklace, a Mookie Betts bobblehead, even a pet bra. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/promos. Fourth pitcher of the game for the Red Sox now, but first, the changes out in the field. Chris Dominguez is now your first baseman. Coyle will move over to third base. Dominguez should lead off the next inning. Would have been Sam Travis to lead off the eighth. Tommy Lane on the mound, the fourth pitcher of the game for the Red Sox. Tommy Lane has retired his last 7 batters faced, making it 8 in a row as Hernandez gets it over to Dominguez. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 7th.
Yeah, Lane's been busy so far this spring. 4 outings against Minnesota, New York, Tampa Bay. Minnesota now again his 5th outing against Tampa Bay. You see his numbers of last season for the Red Sox, 64 appearances. For Boston, 3.97 ERA. Opponents hitting .234 against Tommy Lane.
Had a perfect inning against these Rays last Monday. Followed it up with another perfect inning Thursday against the Twins. Off to a good start here. Tommy Lane last season had 94 appearances in the 2 years combined. The last 2 years, the 4th most on the Red Sox. His 3rd year in the organization. 64 of those appearances last year was tied for the most on the Red Sox, and yet he finds himself in a battle for a spot in this bullpen. Figure Robbie Ross Jr. has the inside track on one of the left-handed relief spots. Talked about Ronas Elias could get a look as a lefty reliever, but the way Lane's pitching right now, he's certainly going to get consideration.
Yeah, he's not losing a job, is he?
Nope.
A little different look, too, he's got against the left-hander here as he drops down to the side with a couple of pitches. One's a fastball, one with a breaking ball. He will give different looks to hitters. Sometimes a 3-quarter delivery, sometimes more dip down to the side and more of a sidearm delivery.
Lefties only hit 159 against him last season. He made the opening day roster last year for the first time with a big league club. And his ability to get the lefties out is what really does give him probably the inside track on that second lefty job. Teams don't really like to have those lefty specialists as often evermore, but it's nice to have that left-handed reliever who can come in, especially in the AL East, Jerry. A lot of left-handed hitters in this division.
Yeah, and especially in those critical innings, you know, the 6th, 7th inning, maybe just to get one guy.
He gets the strikeout there as Wong goes chasing, so 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Catch Dining Playbook immediately following today's game, only on Nessun. Big Papi David Ortiz talks about his favorite restaurants in Boston and what he's had to stop eating as he gets older. Catch Dining Playbook immediately following this Red Sox game on Nessun. Thomas Malone now had a double and scored last time out in the 6th inning. Scored on the Leonard 3-run home run, part of a 16-hit attack for the Rays this afternoon. Couldn't hold up there as it'll be strike 1, 1-1 the count. Tommy Lane trying to make quick work. Only had 1 clean inning by the Red Sox today. That was the 1, 2, 3, 4th inning for Ronas Elias. Ground ball to Hernandez. He'll make the play, and a good inning of work for Tommy Lane. Red Sox coming up to bat in the 8th, down by 8. Heading to the 8th inning, 13-5 Rays with a big offensive day against the Red Sox. Nesson has a brand new site for car enthusiasts. Nesson Fuel, your new home for everything automotive, including exclusive driver interviews, race recaps, and much more. Visit NessonFuel.com and follow Nesson Fuel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram today. The Grand Prix is up in St. Pete, the home of the Tampa Bay Rays, today, as a matter of fact.
It's going to be on the way back from Port Charlotte to Fort Myers, too.
Yeah, I was a little concerned about that we might have traffic from the Grand Prix, but we've been told that it should not be an issue for us.
It's going to be clear sailing, TC.
That's what the locals tell us. Eddie Romero out there for a second inning now, facing Chris Hernandez, who gets his first at-bat of the day. New catcher, as Hank Conger has finally been taken out of the game after his big afternoon. Acosta now behind the plate. What's his first name, Jerry?
Mayo
Acosta. Hernandez fouls it out. Fouls it off to the first base side.
By the way, they got about the biggest dugouts in all of minor league baseball here at Port Charlotte. I mean, they are like two-tier dugouts that they feature. And I'll tell you sit in the back wall, you're a long way from the field.
Yeah, you can work up a sweat walking up to stand in the front of the dugout.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, they're like the ones in Detroit. I think they might even be a little bit bigger than the ones in Detroit.
I think they are bigger than Comerica Park. They're bigger than the Fenway bullpens.
Yes. You
don't have nearly as much room to work out at Fenway Park when you're warming up as you do to sit here in the dugout. Nobody's sitting in the sun on the either side, actually. You're either up front cheering things on or staying back in the shade. Hernandez, ground ball to short. Adams up with it across the diamond. Good throw there. The first out of the inning.
Good throw and a good pick at first base by Gillespie. Nicely done as he stretches out and he gets that in-between hop. Nice soft hands at first base. Back from the outfield grass is Adams, and there you see that bouncing nice and smooth as he goes down to scoop it out of the ground and bring it back up towards his chest.
We'll bring up Brian Lamar, the center fielder now for the Red Sox. Lamar hit a home run 8 days ago against the Yankees up in Tampa. George M. Steinbrenner Field. In 2014, he had 3 different stints on the DL and didn't play after May. And that set back his progression as he came up through the Cincinnati organization. Chopper to third, Leonard up with it. And a nice pick there by Gillespie, who came off the bag but made the tag for the second out.
Yeah, that's one of those plays, that a third baseman has to make a snap decision. Do I wait for an extra bounce or do I attack this ball and play a tough bounce? And he decided he had to attack it because of the runner going down at first base. And another smooth play at first base by Gillespie. So Leonard at third base with a nice decision, and then Gillespie with a very nice play, nifty play around first base.
Yeah, well done on both corners of the infield there. 2 down for Brennan Bosch. Hit a double and scored a run in the 7th inning. Took over from Mookie Betts. Betts went 2 for 3 today with a run scored. Joe Kelly will pitch tomorrow for the Red Sox in that game against Pittsburgh. Brian Johnson also expected to pitch in that one. Carlos Marmol will pitch. He made his first appearance with the Red Sox and looked pretty good in a scoreless inning of work. Interesting to see a guy who was so good for the Cubs a few years back You can find it again this year with the Red Sox. Ground ball to first, but they'll get Bosch. Plenty of time. A 1-2-3 inning for Romero. And we head to the bottom of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th here, and it's 13-5 Tampa Bay Rays. MLB.TV Premium is everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams in true high definition on more than 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. Heath Hembree taking over for the Red Sox. Here it is, the 5th pitcher of the game for the Red Sox. Hembree has 10 strikeouts and only 2 walks in his 5 innings of work this spring. That's if you include the appearance against Northeastern University, which is where it all began. Hembree in his 2nd full season with Boston. That same deal we talked about with Escobar in the Jake Peavy trade. His minor league career, 115 saves. That's the most in minor league baseball over that span. And there was a time where the thought was he was coming over to Boston and maybe you'd be able to groom Hembree to be the save, the closer, to get those saves. 6'4", 210 pounds. But now with the acquisition of Kimbrel, obviously you're looking to see if this is a guy who can be part of your bullpen. And bullpens, as we have come to know, Jerry, take a lot of arms to get through a season. There are guys who end up going to Pawtucket early, wind up being important parts of that bullpen. You think of Brandon Workman 2 years ago, who you never had, or 3 years ago, right, 2013. You never had in the mix. He winds up pitching the 8th inning of the final game of the World Series.
Yeah, we've talked about it, so far this spring where, we make such a big deal about the 25 guys leaving camp, but sometimes that roster changes completely within a matter of a couple of weeks. So, these appearances are important, and it's not guys that are established big leaguers that they know they're going to be here. There are people fighting for positions, and whether it be the 25 that break camp or whether you're the 26th, 27th, or 28th guy that's going to be called, you're competing for a position on the ball club. It may not be immediately, but it might be the first call.
Well, he strikes out Patrick Leonard here to begin his 8th inning. Let's get more on Heath Hembree from Garen Austin.
Hey, thanks, TC. It was a special offseason for Heath Hembree, who, along with Stephen Wright, had the opportunity to go along with a USO tour. Along with singer Chris Daughtry and actress Elizabeth Banks, they went to 5 bases overseas and had the opportunity to visit with servicemen and women to be part of the show. You guys, I caught up with Hembree about it, and he said it was such an incredible experience to really see the way the military members live during their tour of duty. And he said, you guys, he's always had an appreciation for the military, but after this experience, he said it's so much more.
Yeah, thank you, Garrett. Stephen Wright, echoing those same sentiments, said it was life-changing to go over there and you have servicemen and servicewomen who are defending our country, thanking them. Stephen Wright said it's a powerful thing for these true heroes to be thanking me for coming over when it's us who should be thanking them. But just a great idea Hembree and Wright had to connect with the USO and go over and visit 5 different bases in 5 different countries. Hembree gets the corner there for the called third strike. He strikes out Moyle, and back-to-back strikeouts to start this 8th inning.
Yeah, nothing but strikes from Hembree so far, and picking corners, too. That time the outside corner to pick up the strikeout. See the location, set away as the catcher, and the pitch right in that location. Maybe a little bit generous that time, but still, Hembree will take it.
So Hembree now, we said 12 strikeouts, 5 2/3 innings. Facing Casey Gillespie here in the 8th inning with 2 down. Gillespie with a double, scored a run last time around. Part of a 16-hit attack. Red Sox with 13 hits of their own today. Not enough to match what the Rays have done. Two 2-0 the count now to Gillespie.
I'm so afraid to touch this.
Swing and a miss there. Gillespie wearing number 98. Again, a split squad day for the Tampa Bay Rays. They've got players over in Dunedin facing the Toronto Blue Jays. Thins the roster a little bit for the game here. But they have gotten hits from a number of players today.
TC, when I first started in this business with Ned Martin, of course, was my first partner that I had. And we were doing a spring training game from Lakeland. And we had the same type of situation. Now, in those days, you didn't have the kind of information flowing to you like you have today about players coming from the minor league complex. And some kid comes into the game with just a number, no name on his back, and Ned called him Tony Tiger.
Did Tony Tiger get a hit?
No.
Because right there, Tommy Tampa just grounded out to first base. That was Casey Gillespie. He grounds out to end the inning. Back to the ninth in a moment. Last chance for the Red Sox, down by 8 here in the 9th inning. Tonight at 10 on NESN Sports Today, we'll have Red Sox third base coach Brian Butterfield mic'd up as he works with the Red Sox infield, and we'll look ahead of the Bruins' West Coast trip. It's NESN Sports Today. It's presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. New pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays, trying to finish things off here. Andrew Bellotti, the 24-year-old out of San Diego, made his major league debut last year with the Rays and pitched well in 17 relief appearances, 3-1 with a 2.31 earned run average. And again, a guy who is definitely in the mix for this Tampa Bay bullpen to begin the year. Devin Marrero will lead off the inning. Now, the takeaways from today's game, a rough start for Porcello, but most of that comes back to that one inning that got away from him with 2 outs, Jerry.
Yeah, but he will not be pleased with his performance today. You know, too many pitches left up in the zone for Rick, and, you know, that's not where he wants to operate. He needs that sinker ball going. He did get unlucky on a couple of ground balls that found a hole, but basically too many pitches up in the zone for him, and that's what really hurt him, especially in that second inning. So that's something that he's going to have to improve on in his very next outing.
3 starts in the books for Porcello, and today, again, certainly not the kind of numbers he would like to post. 3 innings of work, 10 hits, 8 runs, all of them earned. A couple of strikeouts, but this is one that you try to file away and move on to the next and not look back. Marrero takes a called strike there, 2-2 the count as Bellotti tries to get him. The other takeaway, of course, the Blake Swihart injury. The good news is that the initial word is it was a bruised jaw. We'll see how long that lingers, but certainly good to hear that at least the initial discussion isn't about a concussion or a head injury. Fly ball to right field. Over there is Lee. He will make the catch for the first out of the 9th. Had some good days at the plate for the Red Sox. Travis Shaw continues to swing a red-hot bat. 2 hits. An RBI and a run scored. Alan Craig having a nice day at the plate and looking good. Mookie Betts with a couple of hits. So some positives offensively for the Red Sox, Jerry.
Yeah, offensively okay in the game today. Just giving up way too many runs in early in this ball game. A couple of really big innings, a 6-run inning, a 4-run inning in the 6th, and you know, you're not going to win many ball games, obviously, when you're giving up digits like that in single innings. And the Red Sox have done that on a couple of occasions today. When you get down early in a game, you know, 8-1, I mean, it's a pretty long and frustrating afternoon.
Second straight day. You had the 5-run 3rd inning yesterday, the 6-run 2nd inning today. Much to the delight of many of the fans here in Port Charlotte, although as always a good showing of Red Sox fans. Way out ahead of that one, 2nd strike against Bryce Brents. Bryce Brents has always shown power, a home run in every 20.3 at-bats over his 5 minor league years. And again, injuries delaying his progression after being called up in September of 2014. On a broken thumb last year and could only play 59 games with the Paw Sox. Fly ball to right field. Coming in is Lee, and he will get there. A bit of a circuitous route, but he gets to it for the 2nd out of the inning.
Yeah, that ball slicing off the bat of the right-handed hitter and not hit very deep, so Lee had to really get on that horse and go, and he certainly did and was able to make a fairly routine catch out of it when it looked like for a second it might drop in for a base hit.
Bellotti won his major league debut last year, came in relief against the Texas Rangers, and he got the W. One of his 3 wins in relief on the season. That one will go out of play on the right field side. In Durham, he made 20 appearances. 4 of them were starts. His ERA 5.24, but lower than half of that when he got up to the major leagues with Tampa. Again, we'll be back on the air Tuesday night. Dave O'Brien will be here to call the game at JetBlue Park as the New York Yankees come to town. David Price will be making the start for the Red Sox. 6 o'clock the start. Make sure You joined us early for that one. A lot of talk about the Red Sox Foundation. That's our annual foundation game. You learn so much about the great work they have done and continue to do in the community as Sean Coyle gets a base hit to keep the inning going. That's become a nice tradition, that foundation game every year, because I think a lot of people hear the Red Sox Foundation, but you don't often get to hear about what they do. And they have raised tens of millions of dollars that have gone to so many charities throughout New England.
Yeah, so many divisions of it that receive money from the Red Sox Foundation, all great causes. And you'll hear plenty about it on come Tuesday night.
Over $83 million has been given out by the Red Sox Foundation to support organizations. And, of course, our own Tim Wakefield, our colleague, who is the honorary chairman of the Red Sox Foundation, will be on hand Tuesday night, part of our broadcast. Adam Pellerin will be at JetBlue Park to bring you some of the stories that have had an impact on so many lives through the charitable work of the Red Sox. So make sure you join us Tuesday night, 6 o'clock game time, don't forget. The annual Red Sox Foundation game. It's against the New York Yankees, and with David Price on the mound, plenty to watch. And that one begins. Tim Robertson at the plate here, trying to keep the inning going. Swing and a miss, strike three. Get him out of first base, and that will end it. So a big offensive day, a good ninth inning of work for Bellotti, and the Red Sox are beaten here in Port Charlotte. Their record falls to 5-7 in 12 spring training games. They are home against Pittsburgh tomorrow. That game not on TV, back against the New York Yankees on Tuesday night, a 6 o'clock start here on NESN. Jerry Remy, Garrett Austin, and our entire NESN broadcast crew. I'm Tom Karen saying thanks for watching great Group League action here on NESN. Final score for the final time: Tampa Bay Rays 13, the Boston Red Sox 5. We'll see you again next time.